it's events with dogs. But there's definitely so many logistics to it that we need to make sure, like when it comes to like volume and dog safety and blah, blah, blah. But we have so much opportunity of growth because the event space is huge. But also the events are fun, but we want to like start changing laws and
making real changes. Political. Yeah, making real changes.
What's up, everyone? It's season 2, episode 3 of The Edible Talk. My name is Ori, Foodie on the Loose.
DJ Dave K.
And we got here Doggos, we have Leia, and we have Francesca. Fuck leaving your dog at home. Doggos is a Toronto-based company that focuses on standardizing dog normality in public and private spaces. Doggos allows dogs and dog owners to roam freely through their many tailored events, such as comedy night, date night for dogs, Party the Night Away, Christmas markets, and so much more. We're super happy that you guys are here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
That intro was so good. I think I'm just good now. You got it all.
No, but we love it. We really appreciate you guys coming on. We love to show, local businesses and local companies, not just talent and things like that, because we think it's super important that what you guys are doing, because there's always debates on both sides from, having a dog, bringing it to public spaces, private spaces, even your own home, someone else's home. It feels like there should be a rule book on this. But leading into that question, or leading to all that, this is our beginning question, just to get you in the mood. If your dogs could speak, what do you think they would say when the owners leave them on the street when they're running errands, so in the private and public sector? How do you think your dogs feel?
First, have to say, a lot of people don't know that it's not legal to do that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah. You're like, oh, okay. It's not legal, but it's kind of like jaywalking. Huh. So, like, you're not going to get a ticket, but you could.
Is there a dog police that come around?
It's just the regular police. It would just be the regular police.
They just leave the ticket on the dog.
There's just a specific dog police? That sounds horrible. Can you imagine? Just in the collar. The dog eats it like
hangs it up.
Or put it on the tail. Oh, no.
On the tail.
The tail of the donkey, but
this is getting messed up. I think you're on the other side of the debate.
Okay, so what would our dog say? My dog would probably be looking for like a richer family to get the lavish life. She'd probably be like, take me, I'm pretty.
Nala would for sure also, because she has a beautiful Samoyed. She also is obsessed with AC because she gets so hot in the summers that if a car just came by, she'd like break from her collar and immediately.
She'd probably hop in. Yeah. And she'd be like, peace out.
Really?
I'm gone.
She's a little bit of a savage. She'd be like, Mom! 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 Come back! Mom! You just yell at me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, no, we love that because it's like, the biggest thing is like, I have dated people who have dogs. I've never had a dog myself because I'm a little like OCD germophobic and like the hair, like you can see my hairs are like on my and I'm just like, it's like, I was like, I can't deal with that. I'm like, I'm every time I leave this place.
Yeah, the lint rollers. It's like on your keychain that you have a mini one.
But yeah, exactly what you're saying. I don't feel comfortable leaving the dog. Like it's when someone else is talking, I'm just like, I don't want to leave this dog. So I bring the dog in with me. And when I go in, no issues. People don't really say things. But I notice like as a woman, a lot of times that they go in, they get like, hey, stopped by security. Like we got to kick you out. Very stern and all that. So I think it's so like, I don't know, just unfair. A lot of times just the treated if you have a dog to go in, right? Small or large, right?
I definitely think it's like the way you go in. My mom always says like you have to fake it to make it, and it's kind of like I walk in as if I own, and I'm like I'm allowed to bring my dog in, and if I'm walking in all confident, the security's like, oh, like she's been here before. And other times if I'm just like forget and I go in and then they're like, is that service dog? And I'm like, no, and they're like, turn around. Like, well, she's...
Do you actually get denied?
Yeah, I have been a few times. Shoppers, like, different spots.
How does that make you feel when you get denied? Because I think when I go with my dog, Stella, lovely dog.
Oh, Stella.
Smaller dog, though. And so I feel like just lift her up. Like, yeah, it's fine. It's like a football. It's fine.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, if you have a larger dog, I think it's a lot harder to just lift it up and shop comfortably.
Across the board, though, it's actually not legal for most businesses. Not to like go into the legality around everything, but it's actually not legal because of food and health safety restrictions. And so even though spaces would love to have pets in them, the laws that are restrictive are in place. But those laws were created when pets were outdoor animals. Now they are absolutely not. My dog sleeps in my bed, gets hair all over me.
He's like,
and is a part of my life. And so those laws have to shift, and that's something we want to work on.
We love that. Like, I think, but yeah, that's exactly what we have a question related to, like, how it's moving, right? Because we live in a busy city, right? So it's a whole different aspect from exactly when it's like, if you lived on a farm, if it's like a whole different aspect. Now we're living day to day of, you know, not everyone has a pet, but I think a huge, especially during COVID, a lot of.
Yeah, we were looking in Canada, about 1 million people adopted pets during the pandemic.
And I heard like people were getting them overseas as well. That was like a big thing. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of imports. There's also, yeah, they're like breeding and rescues. Like everything was like sold out, which is kind of weird to say, but
we're selling dogs like crazy, and I'm like, I sell both sides.
Yeah,
like I believe in, if you want a certain type of dog and you want a certain breed, awesome, do it. But I really support rescues. It's for both, but I prefer going through a rescue because I think there's so many dogs out there. Stella's from Texas. We got her from the south.
From a kill shelter. Usually Texas
shelter
is kill shelters.
Texas Chihuahuas. Canada.
Is she a Chihuahua?
Yeah,
I hope not. Like, no, she's a Great Dane, actually.
But we think
she's going to be 23andMe, but 23andMe.
We already chatted about the 23andMe. That's interesting.
I don't know about the doggy DNA test. I don't know if it's legit.
It's not.
Okay, so you know it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, we really want to know about Doggos. Can you tell us about yourselves, how you started, where you came from, just like the general idea of what brought you to doing what you do today?
Yeah, I'm happy to start because I brought Leia in a few months into Doggos, but it first really started with that frustration we're talking about with getting your pet. When I got Hershey, my Pomsky boy, I didn't realize how cities are really not that dog friendly. Okay. I went into Starbucks, turned away. I went into Shoppers, turned away, in so many places. And I was just like in shock because you think about even economically, we're walking our dogs constantly and we can't shop. So we have to leave our pet at home and then go to those places. But that frustration was something I really dealt with. And then it was during the pandemic where there weren't really that many socials where I can connect with other dog owners outside the dog park. So I started an online community, blew up really quickly, and we started doing events that you can bring your pup to. That I think our first event was a singles event. And it's so funny because like the best icebreaker is a dog. Right. The dog is like, can kind of vet out the good people too. And so that event blew up. We sold out in 24 hours. Wow. We had Narcity, Vlog TO, City TV, all these incredible media pick us up. Leia volunteered.
I was a volunteer
at her first event.
I was actually, like, we met in a park, in a dog park. She was obsessed with my dog before. You were not early before.
No, pretty. Yeah. It was
pretty quick. Like, we met in a park. She was obsessed with Nala when she saw Nala. And then
a gorgeous Samoyed, like so cute.
See photos?
And no
video on one.
So then she invited me to a housewarming. Whatever. Long story short, she was like, "I'm doing an event," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll come help." I was like, "I'm free." Yeah,
I put her right to work. I was like, "Get here at 6 a.m."
And I went.
I'm pretty crazy.
We're gonna take shit here.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come." And I was actually volunteer for the first.
Yeah. But now, rest is history. We've hosted over 16,000 people at our events in a year and a half.
Because I think in November you
Is
said
that your online community or
now it's
Yes.
16,000.
Yes.
people go through?
So everything from your
16,000.
trade show, and then you had one last night. The
Yes,
ski one.
we had an après ski social. It was a ton of fun. I wish you guys could have came.
More events coming up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
16,000 is really impressive. I have to say, it's awesome.
In a year and a half.
Really.
But then they're saying people who attended. That's not their
That's
line.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's amazing. Like, foot traffic, getting your name out there, spreading about how good you guys are and helping the community.
Thank you. And the goal now is to not be local and really bring this across North America. Because surprisingly enough, no one's really doing that. No one's bringing these dog-centric events that are cool that young millennial and Gen Zs want to go to.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way, because especially what you said, dogs are like, if you love dogs and you're a dog person, you're going to connect, right? And if somebody else has a dog, they're more willing to connect, right? And I think that's big. That it's funny, like have Tinder with dogs. It's like you and the animal.
Don't steal our idea. No, I'm kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, oh, you have a dog. Cool.
That's good though. It's good.
You have a parrot? I don't know. But yeah, what I want to say, like, I guess, how did you guys find your dogs? That's what I'm kind of wondering as well. Like, how did that, like I know you said
You have an interesting story with Nala, huh?
I'm someone who, like, when I put my mind to something,
Okay.
I become obsessed and I need to know everything about whatever is happening. And me and my partner decided that we were getting a dog. We moved to Toronto 4 years ago, and like 10 days in, we got Nala. I was like, I want a dog. I'm moving out of my parents. I work from home. I always worked from home, even pre-pandemic, since I worked for a Montreal company. So I was like, it's the perfect time. And it's actually funny because compared to Montreal, Toronto is actually pretty dog friendly. If you look at Montreal is like, they just passed a law, like maybe 2-3 months ago, that like dogs are allowed in the subway only when they wear a muzzle. And like, yes, I know. Yes.
And in New York, you can't bring a dog in the subway unless they're in a bag. And we have this really viral TikTok that like, where people are like fudging it and wearing like IKEA bags and putting their tusky with like holes cut
like
out
that
in
holes.
it, just like walking around.
Just like,
see those. They're like cutting.
I do think that IKEA should jump on this trend.
IKEA sponsor us.
No, IKEA needs to jump on this trend. Actually create an IKEA bag with the holes for, like, you're missing out on a business opportunity over here. But call me if that's interesting.
We're getting a lot of good ideas here, guys.
But yeah, I just thought that like Montreal was always very not dog friendly. If you look for apartments, you'll literally like hit a search, you'll find like 300 apartments, and then you'll click dog friendly and you get 3.
Wow.
Like the whole amount. And when I moved here, I was like, oh, it's a pretty dog friendly like city. So I thought. When I moved into my building, all my friends would come visit and they'd be like, do you need a dog to live here? Because there was so many dogs in my building. And in Montreal, you don't see that. It's like really rare. So I was like, I want a dog. So I started doing like compulsive research on what breed I should get, which one would fit in my life. And funny enough, I'm allergic to dogs.
Oh.
And I'll get like,
it shows her passion.
It's not that crazy. Like I'll get like itchy eyes, and like sometimes I'll get a bit of like plaque in my neck. But Samoyeds are actually more hypoallergenic compared to other breeds.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I need that. I'm a very active person. I need an active dog.
And a really good looking dog.
Yeah, I needed a very good looking dog. So Nala actually got rehomed to us. She got adopted by a family who, the mom in the family, people always are like Nala's mom or like the family mom, like the human mom of the family. Her doctor said like you should adopt
a Samoyed, an animal, a service
like
animal.
a service, emotional support animal, because she had the disease, you know, when your lungs fill up with fluid and you eventually
cystic
die.
fibrosis.
Exactly. So she had that. So the doctor said you should adopt an emotional support animal because you're home all the time. And so they did the mistake of adopting a 7-week-old Samoyed, which is the dog with the most fur, and like you have lung issues.
It needs a lot of attention.
And so much attention, and the doctor was like, no, I meant like a 10-year-old cat or something. So Nala was forced to get rehomed. So we found her. I was in Montreal. I called Joey. I'm like, there's this Samoyed. We always wanted a boy, but we were like, we wanted Samoyed more. So I was like, you have to go see her. Her name was Polly. And Joey went to meet her, and it was like love at first sight. And then it took a week for them to decide what family she would go to, and they ended up choosing us. And when Joey went to pick her up, he had to take her away from a 9-year-old child crying because someone was taking her dog away. And the rest is history. Nala's 4 now, and we've had her since.
So it's not Nala, it's not Nala.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, Nala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the way I heard here, it was funny because I think in one of the messages you wrote Nally, and I was like, is that right? And I'm like, I think it was like this tight.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I just the way you were saying it, I was like, is it Nala?
Oh.
And I'm like,
it's the French accent coming out.
Yeah.
And now that makes more sense.
Nala.
You're from Quebec.
Yeah, I am.
Here. But the biggest thing, what you were saying, like he always says this building is so dog friendly, and I'm like, but everyone has a dog.
I love
They have like a dog. They have like a little dog outside.
For sure.
I love that.
But what was I going to say is
also for Hershey. How did you get
Hershey? So I didn't even know about rescues at the time. All I knew was that like I wanted an adorable dog, and it was pre-pandemic. I was looking online and I found the most expensive dog that could possibly exist on the planet.
Okay.
Designer breed.
And it's a designer breed. And I just didn't know about anything. And he was American. He is American. And I saw a picture of him. He was $5,000. I didn't have $5,000, but I needed to make $5,000 and figure it out.
What?
But I got him somehow, got my friends to give me money to get this dog because I was absolutely obsessed. Just like Leia, when I put my mind to something, it's like, super, which works in business for sure.
I was going to say that.
And it inspired a lot of things in my life. But I actually was living at home at the time my mom kicked me out because I got my dog. And she said, don't get a dog.
She's like, I got a dog.
So yeah, it was actually like a really awful period after I got Hershey.
Did that kind of like start your thing to go to make your Doggos, Ontario Doggos, whatever the name is on Instagram, and you kind of like, Mom, you kicked me out.
It motivated me. Yeah, my mom didn't believe in doggos until like a few months ago, to be honest.
Serious?
Mm-hmm. Now she's a huge supporter. Huge supporter.
#1 volunteer.
I wouldn't say she's #1 volunteer.
I think that's Jeff.
That's my friend Jeff.
It was just funny because like it was the Oscars last night, right? Academy Awards, and that Asian actor, right? He did acting when he was a kid, but then for 4 years, no one wanted to hire him, whatever. Then he was in the movie Everything Everywhere, and he's amazing. Like, kind of looks like Jackie Chan. Like, he has that like vibe, and he's very action. Like he's fighting in the movie, and it's really cool. And I love him in the movie, but he's like so happy. And then right at the end, he's like, Mom. She's 80 years old. Mom, this is for you. I know it's been so hard in my acting career and whatever. And like, this is for you. And I'm like,
so
when
beautiful.
You said that, I'm like, I heard that. And I'm like, that's like, it's so hard because like parents are like so fixed on a way. Like if you're an immigrant and all that, and you're like, it's like, no, you have to become a doctor. You have to become a lawyer. You have to become an engineer. Like something so fixed. But they're like, to be an entrepreneur, it's like, don't do it. Like acting, it's like so taboo. Be an artist, so taboo, right? And
I guess it kind of like connects to our next question. But
sure, like,
even Gary Vee talks about it, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I love him, but some of the stuff is a little bit ridiculous. But the whole concept is like, just start by doing something. And that really is like my next question is like, how did you start Doggos? Where did that come from?
Yeah. It's so funny because a lot of people like look at startup stories, and I have a classic startup story where I failed a ton of times before it really picked up. Not only the startup I was doing before I was doing Doggos, I only went full time in October. I was in biotech. I managed a research team, and the startup I was working on started going downhill. I went from having a team of 10, it was absolutely outstanding, to just the pandemic hit. I had to fire my whole team. So kind of going through that like failure and then many other failures. So when I started Doggos, it was actually called Alu Unleashed. And I did leashes and collars. I just made so many mistakes. I had purchased, without doing any testing, the leashes and collars. They came faulty and they would come off the dogs while they were wearing them. Some dogs would go loose in the street and like send me messages being like, I'm going to sue you. My dog went loose in the street. And so I had to like recall all of the leashes and collars. Then I switched to bandanas. Because, you know, it's so funny when you have an online community and a following, you just assume they'll buy anything you have. And that's a lie.
Kind of like merch. You're like, people love me. They'll buy merch, whatever it is, just because they want the branding on it.
And sometimes that's the case. It's not the case for me. So I did bandanas. I didn't look at the margins the whole time. I was at home, like sewing bandanas while I had my full-time job. And they were kind of selling and picking up. But it was always a push to get the sale. And I hosted the first event to actually support the bandanas, bring more attention to that, and then bring together our dog owner community.
Okay.
And the event just like completely sold out in, I think it was like 3 minutes.
Interesting. So the bandanas led to the event.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then I was like, that's really interesting. So I did another event.
What was the charge for that event?
It was like $3.
Okay, so very like.
It was during the pandemic at a time where it was like, you can only have 25 people come. So I would set 25 people, $3 just to like make sure people are coming. And then it sold out in 3 minutes. And then I did another one with 75 people and it sold out in 2 hours. And it was $7, super cheap again.
Yeah.
So then I thought there's something in events. People want to connect. There's really not many opportunities beyond the dog park for dog owners to come together and meet new people and, you know, share their love for their pets. So the first event was a singles social. As I shared, we like completely blew up from there. And
was that the 25? Was that the original? No, that was
the single social was 150 people at Black Lab Brewery. And you know, what's so funny about that event is that a lot of people ask us, like, do people find love at your singles events? And I brought a guy that I really liked to that event, and he met his long-term girlfriend. So, you know, people find love at our singles events.
I mean, that's terrible, but it works out.
They're hilarious. I'm dying right now.
No, but I love that because it's like, but it shows something about like, it shows you have the like tenacity to like really push. Like if one thing fails, you can continue and you have, that's such an entrepreneurial
I think
mindset.
We're really good at like pivoting. It's like something won't work out and we'll pivot really quickly. Especially during the pandemic, we got like events got shut down and you couldn't do gatherings and whatever. And we were like, oh, we're going to do an online class of baking cookies.
Right.
And we just like switched it off and we pivoted really quickly. And after the singles event, we were like at a cottage, at her mom's cottage, and I was a volunteer for Doggos. And then I actually had a full time and I also had a candle company.
She used to work in the porn industry. Not to throw her in here.
She always just says it that way, and she'll literally like when I met her mom, she was like, she works in the porn industry, and I'm like, I did payments for porn.
Okay, the account.
So I was an account executive, and I took care of basically all the Colombian because I'm Spanish. I also speak Spanish,
French, Spanish, and English.
Yes, and I took care of all the studio owners. Studios are like buildings where women and men come and do their work. And so so exactly
a little different. I don't think it'll turn into that.
It was funny because when we were reading about like if we can bring dogs in here, then he sends me a list like no pornographic videos allowed to be filmed in this room.
They have to actually put that, and you're like, I wonder why.
It actually looks like this.
It kind of looks like.
No, it definitely looks like this.
What is that thing called?
Looking down.
It's what's that thing? I can't remember that. The hosting couch, couch something.
Oh, the couch top?
The cast or
Casting couch. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Who said that in the room? That's weird.
But yeah, so and then I had a candle company and we were,
right.
I like always worked a crazy amount of hours since I was in uni, I was working 3 jobs, and like I'm a workaholic and I get bored and I just need.
So just to make sure, you volunteered for the dating for that dating one, but before that,
I had nothing to do with Doggos. We met in a park.
We met at Trinity Bellwoods.
Yeah. And then we went to her mom's cottage, and we were talking about, kind of drunk, we were talking about doing like a Christmas market. And I had my candle company and she had Doggos. So I was like, we could do like Doggos X Chubby's candles. We can bring a market, whatever. And this was like on the Saturday night, and whatever. I had spoken to a few entrepreneur friends also about doing a market. Doing events was always something that really like ignited something in me. So then we get home, and Monday, 9 a.m., I have a full brief for the event from Francesca. Like a full brief, being like location, time. And I was like, oh, we're doing this. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Next day, we're visiting venues. And like, we did it in 6 weeks, pulled out the Christmas market, 1,200 people in one day. It was.
We're insane. We're crazy.
No, it was crazy. We like worked 100.
Is their drive?
I need their.
No, you guys have it too. You guys are working your day jobs. You're
it.
running all of this. You guys are so inspiring.
When we hear you, I'm like, oh, am I even doing anything? I feel like you guys are just like.
No, like insanity. We were working like 100 hours a week, nonstop, no sleep. And then at the end of it, Francesca was like, I want to bring you into Doggos. And I was like, yeah, I want to own. And then the rest is history. We're now co-founders.
Wow.
And we've done all these events.
When I told David we were pitching like people going through the list, and we got like 500 people. He's like, It's like this Toronto-based company, Doggos. I really like their stuff. I have a dog now because I'm biased. Like, these people are going to go really big, really quickly, and I'm just happy that we have you now. And hopefully, again, in the future, we'll be doing it at your studio.
At our peak.
I really like what you're going for, what you're doing. It's really inspiring because there's not a lot of people that are advocating for dogs and dog owners. That's a big thing for me to get me going.
And I honestly, I remember him sending some stuff about you and him attending, which event was
it? To the holiday market.
This year?
Last year.
So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm not a dog owner, but I'm like, okay, it's interesting because I'm like, I've never seen it before. It's such an interesting perspective just to see that you guys bringing so many people together. I'm like, vendors, biz, 1,200 or 1,500. I don't know how many people was at this one, that last one. But when we were looking at over your stuff, the last time you said it in November, you said, oh, we had 11,000 people. Now you just had 16,000. So I'm like, you guys are growing pretty quickly. And even most if the auto trade show had 50,000 people. But that's and that's per day, right?
Wow.
Per thing. And then same thing with Fan Expo. But you guys, the growth that you guys are having is so exponential, and I'm excited.
And we're also now we are 8 working, our team. Right. But before that, for holiday and stuff, we were 4, 5?
Yeah. In December.
For holiday, we were 5, and all the events prior to that, we were 3. And people doing part-time touching here and there, but very small team. For every time people are like, oh, who's your team? And we're like, and they're like, no. Whereas so we are 8 now.
Right.
We're only 4 part-time. I'm full-time. I'm full-time, but I also have a full-time. So we're not
we're full-time and full-time. So.
Yeah, so you get it. You guys get it. But when you're working on your passion, it doesn't feel like work. Yeah. It's like you work and then, I can't say that. I don't want to shave your job. You have an awesome job.
No, so when I first came in, Francesca was like, you can do all the marketing because I do all the socials. And when you're social for a startup, which I am, it's a lot of touching everything. I basically do so many things. So Chesky was which is her nickname, just by the way, people are not. So Chesky was oh, you're going to do the marketing. And I was like, there's one thing, if I come in, I cannot do marketing because I can do 9 to 5 marketing, social media, and then do 5 to midnight every day, more marketing.
Right.
So I was like, let's see how I can like touch other things. So now I do mostly like operations and logistics and all of those.
So that's like full set designs, everything, like how I guess we like map things out is I'll work on our partnerships and event ideation. And then I go to Leia and I'm like, hey, we're planning dogs on yachts. Figure it out. Like make that happen. And so Leia goes, that's wild. Okay. And goes and does her thing.
Yeah, I like bring it up. So like she'll bring up the vision. We do brainstorm like ideas for events. Then she'll like build the ideation and then I bring it to life. Like she does too. But like
from the logistics side, it seems like you guys have everything covered, but also as dog owners and understanding the aspect from rules, laws, policy and all that, what are things that you guys still are trying to move towards, like changing from like different types of, or what things are you guys facing in the private and public sector, such as restaurants and things like that you think that should start be changing in a urban society that we are in now?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest frustration is the food and health laws that exist around pet ownership. Right now, you can't bring your dog into a cafe. You can't bring your dog into a restaurant. But there was an amendment to that law that happened back in 2020, the Better for Business, Smarter for People Act, which shifted and allowed pets on patios. Before, you weren't able to have your dog on the physical patio. You had to tie them up outside the patio and sit. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd have the fence there.
I never knew that. I thought like any patio was fine.
Now it is. Now it is. So that there was a change. And the reason for that is for the economy. Pet owners are walking our pets. We would love to stop in certain businesses and sit down and spend money, but we weren't able to. And so we're hoping to piggyback off that amendment to allow first pets in cafes. And when right now, there are a few dog-friendly cafes, but they can't serve any food. So we're just looking at coffee and pet treats. We want to shift that to allowing pre-made foods and small, like foods that don't have as much issues when it comes to contamination, just to do a test run. And how this could run out is with a pilot project.
Okay.
And because a lot of people are worried. I remember when we were on breakfast television, we have never received more hate in our life than sharing our vision on breakfast television. Oh my gosh. Right after we pitched wanting dogs in every space, they came back and so many people reached out and were like, we do not want dogs in our restaurants. We don't want them in these spaces. What about all of these issues that come up? And I think the best way around that is by starting with small communities. Let's say like we did a pilot project in Parkdale and looked into opening it up to just those cafes and going from there to see what are the actual issues that come up so that we can deal with that and come up with solutions that could slowly phase into more communities surrounding.
I feel like it's also so specific to the business. Like right now, the laws don't allow it, but if a cafe doesn't want dog, that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. That's up to them. Right. They have the right. At the end of the day, they are the business owner. They make their business decision. But some that do want it, then it's just unclear why those laws aren't allowing them to do it. I think that the pandemic, there was a boom into dog ownership, but also it brought such a shift when it comes to the trend of owning a dog. Owning a dog, like Francesca mentioned, is so different now. Dogs sleep in our bed. Dogs do everything. It's also, for example, when I chose my job, it was a necessity that I was allowed to bring my dog to the office. I would not have chosen that job if I wasn't allowed to. It was in my checkpoints. I needed that to be that way. And there's so many changes also when you think of it. Let's talk about like retail. Retail, people will say in-person retail is dying. People shop online after the pandemic. That's another trend that is changing. That's why retails are kind of shifting now to bringing an experience because they need to have people come in. But who's out there walking? Who's walking the streets all the time? Like I walk now 3 hours a day.
You, us, dog owners.
We're walking and I want to be able to walk and I want to go in. So that also ties into the economy. It brings like people would go into stores with their dog. I love going to Zara on Queen with my dog. I love going to just any shops that's dog friendly. And I will often decide to go into the stores more than other ones because I can go in with Nala.
Right.
And
shout out to the wine shop allowing pets.
Yes.
Wow.
I think it's cool that you mentioned, first of all, the breakfast television, you got hate. I think hate is interesting because it's showing that people care, that they actually have some sort of like input. And hate can be really bad, but it can also be really good because you take to your advantage, because it means that people are actually like, you're stirring the pot. You're not making it in a bad way. You're doing it in a good, productive way, and you're finding actual solutions. You're trying to find ways that your dogs can actually be in public.
I think it's definitely constructive because we'll have hate about like, what about when it comes to service animals? I know that a lot of the service animals owners will have issues with other dogs being into businesses because then their job can't do their dog can't do the job right because some dogs will jump in the service dog's face and then it becomes disruptive to their need for the service dog. So those people kind of coming up with that feedback, it's very constructive as to how we can change the law better for all pets. Like we want the service dogs also to be able to do what they're like taught to be, do their job, you know? So it's just very constructive. I think that that's one thing that we've always been very good when it comes to like our business is the negative feedback. We'll just like build from it and try to learn from it versus getting pissed off about
something
it.
to give to you, maybe not something that might actually help you if you haven't done it already or thought about it. And I'd love to be part of it in some way. I think there needs to be, because I do the same thing with people. They say, Ori, what are the best restaurants in Toronto? I say, no problem, here's my list for Toronto, Tel Aviv, Frankfurt, Miami, whatever it is. I share a list, they can check it. There's actually a lot of websites, Google Maps does it, and other websites that are maps websites. And you can actually put in like this coffee shop, dog friendly. So you can maybe a part of your services, you can add it here.
Kind of like parking, easy parking.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
So you can break it down by city, but it'll be crowdsourced. So it takes a lot of time going.
Yeah.
But if you go to your community and say, hey, Leslieville, show us where the best dog friendly parts are, go out, dog friendly. It can really go from like 5 to 1,000 places before you know it.
And then people
can actually do it
or something.
You have to have some restrictions. They can give you the information and you can actually check it and call or email. Yeah. That's something that you can consider that might actually help your business grow.
Yeah.
Credit. Like, this is happening. Look at this person. Look at that person. You have a movement going.
So we have 2 businesses going now. We have our Tinder business, the Tinder for dog owners.
Tinder for dogs. And
that was so good. And now we're going to do providing pet accessibility in cities through an app.
I guess
these are good. These are good.
Since we're here, I want to. Why not? Let's bring it up. What is Doggos Connect?
Yeah, so Doggos Connect is a really fun piece of Doggos where we're opening up our own event system to allowing other businesses to host dog-friendly events, host dog-friendly experiences that we don't necessarily run, but we help them and guide them to run, and then utilize the community that we have of around 25,000 dog owners and allow them to see these events.
I think we want to encourage, at the end of the day, we do these events and we love doing the events, but our mission is to make the world a dog-friendlier place. So if more businesses are actually doing events for dogs, we want to encourage it. And we want to help them with our community, kind of put a Doggos approved stamp on it and just be like, let's just connect with more dog owners, more dog lovers. And we totally support it. Like we'll have people send us being like, oh, look at this company. It's new. It's in Toronto. They're doing dog events. And we're like, yeah,
hell yeah.
That's so
we
sick.
Love it.
We are...
Oh, sorry, I don't.
No, we're just like, we want the world to be a dog friendlier place. So what better way than have other businesses actually also have the same vision, the same mission. So
and have you had any like larger companies? Like I'm throwing out like, let's say RBC, they have like 100,000 employees or 25,000. Are they like, oh, we're trying to have a special event for I'm like, would that be considered like them segregating their people who have dogs or who like dogs?
No, it kind of opens up the floor. Yeah.
Like, it'd be interesting to see, like, if they're bringing you guys along, like, hey, we want a space, we want to do this, we want to bring dogs along, and some of our employees have dogs, or like,
when they see a big enough initiative, those big banks will put their thing on there and they'll give you funding for sure.
We've also worked with
condo buildings. Yeah,
we've also worked with condo buildings.
Okay.
So Tricon Residential is one of the condo companies.
So they're like a very dog-friendly space, and we actually threw like a doggy pool party on their last day that the outside pool was open. So kind of helping also condos become more dog-friendly. And once again, steps into like the economical like part. I don't know if that's an English word, but
it's the French in you here.
It's just like when people move to Toronto, have dogs, and they want to find a condo, they'll definitely find dog-friendly condos. So how can we help condos have a higher search, be more dog-friendly? My sister in her condo, she has a doggy like cleaning room. So they literally have like kind of like a grooming space. So when you come in with your dog, you can shower the dog, you can clean it up versus having to go home and have dirt all over your condo because your dog's really filthy and you have to throw it in the shower.
Especially during the winter, right? Dogs, like, and it's both things, right? They have salt on their paws, and those are like, you have to get all the way home by the time you clean it, but it would be nice if there's like a
quick stop off. Yeah.
And it's also such a community building. Like we said, dogs are such good icebreakers. When I moved to Toronto, I didn't know anyone here. I worked from home.
Every immigrant get a dog.
No, I worked from home. I didn't know anyone.
Right.
And then when I got Nala, I met so many people at the dog park. All my friends were dog park friends. And so it's kind of like that in condos too. You meet people in your condo by having dogs. So Triton does that really well, doing little events, which we help with.
We're running, coming up, a poetry and pause night. And so
it's
going to be so cute. And it's basically dog owners coming up with like poems and songs. Think about like Smelly Cat, except it's for their pets. It's like open across the board to all their pets. And so it's going to be like a big party.
Are your events sponsored by other brands? PetSmart, Ren's Food, all that stuff?
You know the names.
Yeah, someone's been doing research.
So
do you have like big sponsors for any dog events?
Yeah, I think our most exciting sponsor, and this is going to go through once this podcast is released, so I can share it, is Uber.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, give us a scoop. And so Uber, if you've never heard, have you heard of Uber Pet?
No. In the States, they have it where you can bring your dog on in.
Well, see, we have it in Canada and have had Uber Pets for 3 years, but people do not know about it. So Uber Pets is, you know how you can order like Uber XL, Uber Black, Uber Green,
so you can, like,
Uber Pet.
Dogs, so
exactly. So you can bring your pet in Uber, which is huge because in the city, when I moved to Toronto, I had a car, sold it because I never used it.
Right.
And now I'm like, the only reason I would want to buy a car would be to go to places with my dog.
A crazy story about Uber that actually Laura Miller, who we connected with, who heads their PR there, was sharing is that they used to actually bring puppies into Uber in the beginning to help promote Uber.
Wow. So people like can pet them? Like,
yeah. You could choose a ride with puppies in it.
No, I think it's not an app for that.
I don't think anymore. It's been like a long time, but that's so funny.
A lot of I feel like the strongest companies, the biggest companies in the world, are usually the ones that bring dogs in, and they're like the tech companies that bring your dogs in. I think that tech needs to push more for other jobs. Maybe Uber is your solution, because right now, all my friends that work in tech are like, I bring my dog to work. I'm like, where do you work? I work for Facebook. That's pretty cool.
No, it's really. I mean, like I know a friend who works at Google, right? And he only worked from home. And they're like, "Oh, we need you in the office."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh no, like I have to take care of my dog. It's a big dog." They're like, "Oh no, just bring your dog." And he's like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Oh, we have a full service for your dog." So he drops the dog off at like whatever 9 o'clock. They clean him, take care of him, take the whole day, and then he finishes at 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Picks up his dog, fully groomed, fully taken care of, fully walked, fully fed.
That's gonna be
Google, sponsor us. Come in here. We're interested in you. This is awesome.
Waterloo Google. So Waterloo Google.
Wow.
We need that service for our staff.
Yeah,
that big.
Let's not tell our staff yet. We're not there yet.
That'd be a cool service, I guess.
Yeah.
When you guys are even more successful, we'll come to your place and we'll see how everyone with their dogs and the 50 employees.
Oh God.
Well, no, I'd be very like. I mean, I can see the expansion is very quickly because like it's like as soon as you start working with more partners, more events, more restaurants, all that, and when that happens, you guys are going to be a full-fledged team, and like it's going to be quite impressive. Like I can already see the vision, and that's very important. Like for a new company, like most times they're like, oh yeah, okay, bandanas, okay.
Oh, way to throw shade.
No, but like it's a beginning step, right? We've all started somewhere.
100%
to do whatever, and it's like. But the crazy thing is, what is that, like that YouTuber who has that bows, right? And she's made over $24 million selling bows to her audience.
That's
right?
incredible.
So, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
Her name's, Jojo Wawa or Jojo.
Oh,
Jojo Wassing.
The girl,
something.
the one in Dance Moms. The blonde.
Yes, she's a blonde girl.
Yeah.
She's right now like 22, but they still make her look like 16.
Yeah.
They want
she was in Dance Moms.
Like
wow.
But yeah, she's like one of the biggest sellers, and she sells bows because she always wears bows, and now they have different colors and all. But I'm saying it's like if somebody's like, oh, you're going to sell bows to your audience, okay, like maybe a few 100,000, whatever, but then you can make that and people want to use it and they right?
Yeah.
I think there's also such, in the event space, there's such like a blank slate.
Right.
Like we'd go from club night to like drag shows to comedy night
right.
to holiday event to summer events. We actually did Dogs on a Yacht. Like
I'm thinking about Dogs in the Life Fest, like just like
they do wear their little life jackets. It's so cute.
But it's such a blank slate. It's events with dogs. But there's definitely so many logistics to it that we need to make sure, like when it comes to like volume and dog safety and blah, blah, blah. But we have so much opportunity of growth because the event space is huge. But also the events are fun, but we want to like start changing laws and
making real changes.
Political.
Yeah, making real changes.
I mean, recently in this area, in the Queen West area, there's been a lot of pop-ups, like artist markets and pop-ups. I think that could be a really cool way for you to also have like either a booth or like even bring like pitch to the pop-ups and be like, can we bring our dogs? Here's a dog-friendly pop-up. Because then you're supporting local artists that are all hostile.
Yeah, heck yes.
Selling niches, I don't know, but like they're bringing their dogs, and maybe you could pitch it to them that you can actually get more views, more engagement. I don't know. Maybe they can test it. I have no idea. Maybe something that would help you.
Yeah, I think
like everything from like those vintage stores and all that. Yeah. That's what you're saying. Like, but I mean,
like the welcome market is a really great example.
Like, there's a lot of indoor spaces. Like here, there's the Curry's Artist Market. It used to be an artist store, and now it's changed into a pop-up shop, and they're having like 35, 40 vendors that are like, I sell soaps, I sell hair ties, I sell this. So maybe you could potentially bring dogs and pitch it to the people that run it, the organizers.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Because I always walk Stella, and I'm like, oh, artist market, that's so sick. Then I realize like I have a dog, and I'm like holding the dog, and it's awkward. And I have to bring her up. Then I go back down. I'm like, I don't want to go back down because I brought her up. Like, you're not lazy.
Yeah, I think we definitely want to become also like advisors to help businesses, whether it's like condos, coffee shops, other events, on how they can be dog friendly and how they can have those little restrictions, the volume not too high, and like knowing the dog's body language. So kind of becoming like advisors for the dog friendliness space.
I think you brought it up, but it was there's like different policies versus Europe and North America. So what are things that are, I'm guessing you guys know a lot better than us, but what are things that are different between the regulations there?
Oh my gosh, Europe versus North America is like incredibly different. In Europe, they really don't have set laws. I'm not sure like if they actually have the laws exist and no one listens to them, but I'm pretty sure they have no set laws because dogs are allowed in most spaces. You can bring dogs into cafes, you can bring dogs into restaurants. In fact, you wouldn't be surprised to be sitting at a table with someone with their dog sitting next to them.
And like high class restaurants.
Yes.
Like there was this photo going around. It was like a high class. I'm not sure if they have Michelin star, but it was like
at that level
of restaurant. And the family sitting there, and there's literally a Great Dane sitting beside the table, and everyone's like, "What the hell?" And everyone from Europe,
it's a side table.
Everyone from Europe is like, "That's normal. Why are you guys freaking out? Like, that's just normal." It was like a really well-known restaurant, and I was like, "That's really cool."
Our laws here are archaic. You know, they were created at a time, as I was sharing, where dogs were outdoor pets. it's clearly not the case anymore. And so I think this shift is inevitable.
In Tel Aviv, in Israel, it's so dog friendly. Like Toronto's dog friendly, don't get me wrong. Tel Aviv, there's more dogs than there are human beings. Animals, so there are human beings.
Are they like family? Are they like loose dogs?
No, they're like they're on a leash.
Okay.
Not stray.
Like in Italy, it's just stray dogs.
Crazy enough, a long time ago they had a rat infestation in like the 70s or 80s in Israel. And what do you do to kill rats? Mice. So you bring out cats.
Cats, yeah.
So there's actually a shit ton of cats everywhere in Tel Aviv. Those are stray, and we don't touch them.
I would probably touch them. I'd probably touch them.
Every
It's
tourist
funny. I think like people go to like north, right? And like touching these random cats. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's like my mom.
I'd have like 2 cats in the pocket. I'd be holding 2 of them, and I would come home with some disease. But I'd be happy.
Literally.
You would have held the cats.
I held the cats that I shouldn't have
We
touched.
can't say we like cats on the podcast.
Ooh, that's drama. That's drama.
So I guess before continuing, this might be like a midpoint for we also like working with like local foods, and crazy enough, I'll let Ori talk about it because he knows it a lot better than I do.
So
but I can tell you the
some
foods.
food from Imperfect Eats.
We love it.
They're
Perfect.
actually a really cool brand. I worked with them, like 4 years ago when I started going doing foodie full time. What's cool about Imperfect Eats? A lot of restaurants, a lot of people don't buy food that's a little bit rough or a little bit has bruising on it. And Imperfect Eats is the place that gets kind of like your bruised, kind of one day.
You don't notice it anyway.
You don't notice it.
Yeah.
It's cooked food. All the stuff is legit. It's not fake. The company, they've really blown up like crazy. Like 10 locations in the city. And what I like about it is that you're still paying actually less because it's not perfect like the Loblaws and the Metros of the world. But they do a great job making salads, poke bowls, you name it, like smoothies. Or they have acai bowls, and it's really healthy, really fresh.
It's also women owned.
That's great.
So no,
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I guess we also said that about you guys, right? Like it's also women led or women owned or
Women owned, women led,
Women
and
run.
we only have women in our team.
Except for Andrew. But he's an advisor.
Okay. So
we're gonna try the food. I'm really hungry.
Let's start it. Let's go. On their website, they have an option for like 4 people. So instead of individually ordering, you can order all 4 people at the same time. And then you also get I think it's $25 off.
Wow, that's insane.
You also get a 15% off. And I was like, okay.
Okay, we love that.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we originally saw like for 2 people, and then there's a 4 people deal. I was like, great. So I just thought that was amazing. But anyways, enjoy, eat.
I'm the girl who
Thank you.
shakes her salad. I'm that girl.
Cheers, ladies. Shake it.
I love Imperfect.
I find that like they're genuinely affordable in a city where nothing is really affordable, you know?
That's the biggest issue.
You said $5,000 for your dog. That's not affordable. That's not.
Shh. It's on the podcast.
But he's so handsome, so it makes sense, you know?
He's cute, and he has. Does he ever
Yes.
had a mixed? Because he has 2 different eyes, right?
Yeah, it's called heterochromia.
The actual word for it?
Mm-hmm.
It's more common for animals, but they're humans have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember I was looking at a study and a documentary about it.
Okay.
It's like humans, it's like I don't know, like 2% or 1% that you can have that. Well, dogs, it's like super high because the chromosome between. I can't remember, but something about that.
Interesting.
Terrible.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing.
Terrible.
The way he looked at me, I'm like, oh shit.
It's really yummy.
It's really yummy. I like their sauces too. They do a really good job with the sauces.
I did not realize how hungry I was.
You go there. Do you have one to your office? Like, is there one nearby?
Yeah, there is. I also know about them since my full-time fully veggie. We also use upcycled ingredients. So the founders know the founder of Imperfect since they are within the same like values and stuff. So they're great. They also had a glitch in their like on Uber at some point where you were able to choose. It was like build your own bowl, and then you were able to choose however many like proteins you wanted
Right.
because there was a mistake, and you would click like jerk chicken, Chipotle chicken, and the bowl would
Oh my
come
gosh.
massive, all the ingredients, and it was all the same price because there was like a glitch
That's kind of
on
sad,
the app.
though.
I'm surprised they didn't call and be like, sorry, can we cancel the
I
order?
know.
So like, thinking about it, just ask some more questions, right?
Well, yeah, sure.
So recording, yeah.
Yeah, one second. I don't want to read because we jump back and forth and like
The number 5. Sure. Number 6 after that.
I already did number 5.
Yeah. 6.
Dogs. I don't know. That's. I guess we could ask that question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
How do you get? Okay, so
We
6
cutting
or
it
7. What?
We cutting it better now?
Yeah, well, I already cut it and then
Okay,
restarted
cool.
it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't want to add that to the podcast.
You mean that all this? No. Yeah, this
Okay.
is just. This is,
I feel like those things are fun, though. I think that maybe should be at.
yeah, but the thing is, now we're listening. It's like,
Yeah, for sure.
The thing is, right now, no one's going to listen because we don't have a big audience. But eventually, as
Mhm.
we get clipped, like really funny moments that you guys are making us laugh about, really hysterically, people will like it. And the podcast, hopefully. The number 6?
I kind of want to go to number 7.
Go. This should go on. Everything they're doing is good.
So, I guess to move into the questions that you guys, a lot of you host events, and that's super important. That's how pretty much kind of Doggos is growing consistently. But how, I guess, there's 2 ways. How do you get people to your events, and how are you growing your community in your online basis?
That's a secret.
Cheers, so we can
One is, I think, because we're doing something so novel, most of our events have never happened before in, let's say, Toronto or sometimes even the world. This summer, we're running the first dog-centric music festival in the world. And so how we really get people to come to our events is through media. So all the media we've ever gotten is unpaid. All the media, they pick us up because it's such a unique concept and because it's never been seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that's the biggest piece that's allowed us to blow up. Is shout out to like Narcity. Brooke at Narcity is absolutely amazing. And just our media contacts has really helped us.
I think in general, also our audience is like people who have dogs are obsessed with their dogs. So we have such like super fans because people are super fans of their dogs. They want to like add their dogs to everything they do. And since you can't, we bring those events. So it's also just something that was missing. So as soon as people see it, they're like, I've never seen this before. It's the first ever in the world or Canada or whatever. And it looks really cool. I was going to swear.
How do you say, okay, cool, we're going to have a club? How do you go to the club and be like, hey, can you bring our dogs? It's not going to poop on the floor, and if it does, we'll clean it up. Like, how did you figure out which owners are down to bring their dogs in any establishment?
Fully luck of the draw. It's a numbers game. You need to hit someone that owns a dog and gets it.
Interesting.
If someone doesn't get it, there's no way in. An example is like, we've reached out to the ROM and we've never connected with the right person at the ROM because a night at the ROM with your dog is so cute.
That would go viral.
And I know. And so that's usually how we pitch it. We not only we're looking for the dog owners and dog lovers, we look for someone that sees the value of the media that we're going to bring in and the attention. And not only that, the super fans that will create for those businesses. By allowing pets in those spaces, people will always look back, let's say at the club night at Love Child, and go, remember that time they had dogs? That was incredible. And go back to them all the time after just remembering that.
But yeah, I mean, those impacting memories. Also, as you guys said, like you got on our city, Blog.to, the breakfast television. I think we saw like peer news and like Edmonton or wherever that is, and then all over, pretty much nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
How has that helped like grow your audience? Like, have you just been getting people all across Canada right now being like, I want to bring my dog to Toronto to like go to one of these events?
I would say there's like amazing things that come from media for the most part, but we've also had complete falling out and almost lost our business from media as well. So for the most part, it's absolutely incredible. And it allows us to do these new partnerships and, enter the new frontier of the dog-centric spaces. But a crazy example, and I'll let you give the story here.
So we also, we do all the events. We also throw puppy yoga on the weekend.
Right. Super cute. Every weekend.
Every Saturday, Sunday. No, we used to do it on a monthly basis, and now it's every Saturday, Sunday. We have some of our team that run it, and it's very popular. It sells out a few weeks in advance, all the time. And we thought it would be a good idea for Easter. I was like, let's do, and I said it. It was my idea, but I was like, let's do bunny yoga. I was like,
bring bunnies on?
Instead of puppies, let's bring bunnies. And I was like, let's bring bunnies. And I was like, haha, joke. And then Francesca was like, no, let's do it. And I was like,
the brief came the next day. It was ready.
I was like, okay, I wasn't kidding. I was just trying to read the room. And so we find this breeder in Ontario. She's been breeding bunnies for 15 years. She took on her mom's business, a very cute breeder. We saw the facilities, everything looked great. And so we announced the event and it picks up. We had Narcity,
okay, here's the issue with how it was picked up. It's how it was phrased. And I think when it comes to media, you want clickbait. You want something with a title that's oh, and then this happened, or you need to see this, something that someone really wants to go, and it's a sexy text. So we got boozy bunny hop yoga with adoptable bunnies. And here's the two issues there.
Okay.
One is that it said adoptable, and these bunnies were from a breeder. And in our press release and in everything, it was breeder. We never lie about the kind of events. Sometimes we work with breeders. Sometimes we work with rescues. Just depends on the event. And then the second piece is that it said boozy.
Right.
And we give one glass of mimosa at the end of the class. But now it sounded like people are getting wasted and bringing home bunnies.
And then people are thinking that as unsafe now or something like that.
Yeah.
But it had, so with the media and everything, it's still sold out. In literally less than 12 hours, the whole day was sold out. And we were like, oh my God, we're doing it Sunday too. At first it was only Saturday. We were like, let's do it Sunday as well. Let's do both days. We get the breeder on board. We have the media who covered us being like, can I please come to the classes? And we're like, it's sold out. And we're like, okay, we'll squeeze you in. She was like, please, I really want to go. So we're like, yeah, we'll squeeze you in, whatever. We started doing the promo. And then suddenly I'm super happy. I'm like, okay, this is so sick. And then I'm on a work call, my full time, and my phone starts blowing up and it's 911, call now, urgent meeting, let's go. And from our whole, the whole team. And we used to work with another studio, a yoga studio. We didn't hold it at our space. It was with another, maybe she doesn't want this. So it's urgent, blah, blah, blah. So I get off my call, I get on the call, and they're like, we're canceling bunny yoga. Did you see social? So I look on social, and the bunny community had picked up and that's a thing. A bunny community is something. It's kind of people that believe in pet. It's our community coming forward with believing in making cities more dog friendly. There's a community of people that really believe in, rescuing bunnies. And we did not know how awful the situation was in Ontario for bunnies. Especially during Easter. So what people do is kind of like with the little chicks. They will adopt bunnies and they'll adopt those little chicks for Easter and they give it to their kids or whatever, but they don't realize that a bunny lives a really long time. And after Easter, they just get rid of the bunny. They let them loose literally in the wild. In the wild. They'll bring them to
in the wild or in cities, they're in parks.
They'll bring them to Hyde Park and they'll just let the bunny there. And we did not know that. We had no idea. So the bunny rescue community came at us, was like, if you throw this event, we're going to come pick it.
We had 3 events in a row in 3 days, and actually 4 if we were going to run the second day. And so they were going to come pick it at all of our events. They were like attacking us online, put our videos in black and white, and we're like red across, cancel Ontario Doggos, all across the board.
So this kind of, I guess you're sticking to your niche. Because right now, like I could say I'm a cat lover, for example.
Yeah.
And I want to have catos, whatever the name of the company is going to be. But like, do you only specifically do dog events now because of these events?
This is going to sound really weird, but because we're actually doing another animal event soon. But normally, yes, we like to stick within our niche for dogs.
I'm sure cat lovers are like, I love what you're doing. Can you do the same for me? I want to get a cat event, whatever that's going to be. And so, because it could be the same concept, just for cats, right?
We love it. Yeah, when we run events for condo buildings, it's always pet-friendly events. And so there are some cats in attendance. It's just that most cats don't really want to leave their homes.
Right.
So it's only the most social cats that like go on walks or go in those, have you seen those backpacks that are like clear?
I'll see them on leashes and I might stop.
Yeah. But just to like finish the story and so we don't seem like assholes here. Yeah, no worries. I'm like, I don't want it to end.
No, it actually like got really bad and we lost like over 1,000 followers.
2,000 followers in a day.
And then we actually had that same media come out with an article being like, Ontario Doggos throws bunny event and like trashing us after she had begged us to come to the event.
And the person you said earlier, her name?
No,
I didn't say a name. No.
We will not.
No, we
say a name.
That's definitely not her. We love her. She was just with us yesterday.
It's funny. She just followed me on Instagram the other day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because anyways, continue.
No, give us a scoop. Give us a
I
scoop.
want you to finish it.
Okay. That I want to hear.
So we canceled the event, returned everyone's money. We were like, we cannot go ahead with this. Like, also, it is a pretty big issue what's going on with the bunnies, and we are animal lovers at the end of the day, and we're like, we cannot support that either. So we canceled it, and we got bunny rescues to come onto our platform and kind of educate our audience about this ongoing issue. So we dealt with it really quickly. Like, we turned around and then people started talking about how well we had dealt with the crisis. So then things got averted a bit, but we lost like thousands of dollars.
We lost like $7,000. We lost 2,000 followers.
And for a startup,
almost our business
so
for a period.
We usually ask that question anyways every single time. We don't ask how much money you make, but we ask like how you divide up where you make your money. Like, is it YouTube? Is it Instagram? Is it through events? Like, if you can break down, that's something that we always like to know, because people that might want to start their own business, they're like, oh, I'm making money on Facebook. That's awesome. A lot of players like, I make money on TikTok. So how do you make your money on Doggos?
So
not numbers, just percent.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Like $2 million. No, I'm kidding. One day.
This was free.
So I would say how today our finances and our revenue streams are split up are that puppy yoga and private events keep us in business. We've done like private events for like Pinterest, a ton of law firms, and Deloitte has done so many events with us.
We're like at our insane. Fifth.
Yeah.
We do so many. We've done some with like McCartney Tetro, United Ways. Pretty big.
And so that's a piece that allows us to just have a constant revenue stream so we don't need to worry about money. This is new for us. So we've always been super stressed about money.
But
like
it's funding the mission.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I guess one thing I want to say, do you publicly put that on your website? Because I don't remember, like, it shows like brand partners that you work with.
I noticed on your website
we should.
You had different, like, consulting, you have, there's other stuff on there. I told you, like, services that you provide. Because I was like, events are cool, but there's only so many events you can do in a certain day. The fact that you're going into Deloitte and, separating your business is really cool, because you can do so many more things that you have the opportunity of, because you have social media. Maybe someone's taking photos of dogs at the office. I don't know. But
absolutely.
I think it's really cool what you're doing with you're pivoting. You're not just thinking of one certain niche.
No, yeah.
You have many.
We like to call our business a cockroach, because I think cockroaches are incredibly inspiring. we love the cockroach.
They never die.
They've been around way longer than us. They've been through so many times where 99% of the population was completely wiped out, and they survived. So I think when it comes to doggos, who knows what we're going to be in 2 years, but we're going to shift with it, and we're going to be here.
I love that, because that's a question that we have for you. What are the next stepping stone for the expanding of doggos?
Yeah.
I think changing laws is like our big focus this year, which is also, we will be going through a huge rebranding.
Should we share?
Should we share? You guys are the first.
Yes.
Oh. Go ahead.
So are you guys ready? You guys have your food. You have everything. Yes. We're changing our name to Doggosphere because we want to take over the Doggosphere. You like it?
Oh, let me see.
When we saw Ontario Doggos and then everything's not pushing towards Doggos, we're like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, I kind of like Doggos. Doggos is great for it, but I love that.
Here's the issue with Doggos is that you're not going to be able to trademark it.
Interesting.
Right? And so many people use that pretty much ubiquitously. And so there's so many accounts that have like doggos in their names. And so in order to get that trademark, it's really tough. So even though we have doggos.ca and we're proud of that, I think when we came up with Doggosphere, it was like, okay, this feels big.
You bought the .com already.
Yes. Don't worry. We're good. We're good.
And on Instagram.
And all the social media channels you bought?
That is a tough one. We're working on that one. We're working on that one.
Well, like a lot of people just like, it's like going to be Doggosphere Canada or Doggosphere Net or something. Yeah,
there's so many ways of doing that. That's really inspiring. Is there anything that you personally want with Doggos? Anything that you personally want with Doggos? Like your visions?
I want to grow to the US very quickly. I'm starting, like, as soon as we share our mission, as soon as we share what we do, the sparkle we get in people's eyes is insane. And from like A-level people to C-level people, everyone always is very impressed by what we're doing, how we're doing it. Such a small team, young women doing it within this entrepreneurial world also that's very tough. Right. Also having full-time jobs and handling all of that and being able to bring this to life. I get scared that someone in the US is going to swoop it, someone who has more money and just swoop it and take it away. So I'm like, we need to push. We need to go to the States. We need to find research. Well, we've already done like a lot of research, but I think we just have to do it. We just have to like throw ourselves head first and grow to the States, because I get really worried that.
I think you can easily grow in the warmer climate places like Texas, Florida, California.
Yeah.
Because it's just easier to be at your dog event open. But then as soon as they realize that this is legit, it's not a joke, you can go to closed spaces and maybe more restaurants and owners can actually accept it. Because that's what the biggest thing. I think people have to understand that dogs are welcome in society and they're not just like living creatures, they're actually part of the family unit. And you guys are doing the right things.
Well, it's funny that you bring up like the warmer climates, because like if you look at like Atlanta, they have like the highest ownership for dogs, and even Texas is really close to that.
Why it is? It could be like because it's colder and people want to stay inside their home.
I'm not sure. Just like the dog ownership, even in Texas, they're up there too. When you look at the stats, they're like one of the like highest dog ownership percentages within the United States. So for me, I'd say it's that. Yeah, like going to the States is definitely one of like my biggest push.
I love that. So it's pretty much policies, you're rebranding, and then heading over to the becoming North American versus just Canada. So I love that. That's such a bold, and just talking to you women, like there's so much like passion, there's so much love, there's so much like dedication. It shows that you guys have gone through so many different things, and there's so much more that's going to happen, good and bad, but hopefully just all good.
We like the bad. The bad adds drama.
Yeah.
Our goal is to have a reality show, so drama's fun for us.
I mean, your trailer kind of had that not trailer, your intro. I was like, ooh, this feels like Friends with dogs. And I'm like, I like this.
Our vlog.
Yeah, our vlogs.
But I guess there's like one big question that we ask at the end of every podcast, and I think this is the moment that we want to bring it to you, because from our point of view, we think you're there, but when did you feel that you made it?
I don't feel like we made it. I don't know. I feel like we've done, okay. One good example of us making it, I would say, is this past holiday market.
Okay.
We hosted holiday market the first time, 1,200 people.
Wow.
This next year, we hosted it at Enercare. And if a lot of people don't know about that, Enercare is a make or break moment for your business. It's incredibly expensive to do it with that space. This is exhibition place.
Of course.
And so I think us successfully running that event with like using every part, like it broke all of us at one point. There was breakdowns, there was everything to make that incredible event of over 4,000 people joining us, 50 vendors, 20 sponsors, and planning that in a 3-month period. So it came together. But I think that the moment where I felt like we had made that really incredible impact is when our supervisor said, it's so funny, about half of the people that we bring in, like you, small businesses, end up just dying after running an event with us. And you guys are still up and floating. And we're like, okay, we must be doing something.
I remember when Chesky brought up Enercare, being like, we're going to do it at the Enercare. I was like, no. I was like, we're
33,000 square feet.
She was like, it's 33,000 square feet. We're going to do it there. It's going to be 2 days. And I was like, no, we can't afford. We don't have the capacity, like the team.
Right.
We can't do it. And then she like did the budget and did everything. And I was like, fuck it. Let's do it.
It happened.
And it happened. And it was,
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny enough, because Erica saw it, my girlfriend saw it online, and I saw it too. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. Like, I know that logo. I know that person. I'm gonna DM her. I DM'd you, and she's like, here's your ticket. Like, no questions asked. And then from now on, you're on the podcast.
Wow.
We had that connection.
I think that's exactly what you said. Most businesses don't survive, right? Something that you guys went through with the bunnies, right? Most people wouldn't even come back from it. They're like, that's it. We gotta take it out. This is a bad idea, and go. But you guys have the space. You have you two as full employees, and you guys are really pushing it. Most people are like not even making a living out of it, right? And you guys are currently doing that. So from our point of view, I think you guys are very
thank you.
motivating, very inspiring, and very like it's just not
literally every single person we interview. I'm like, hey, we're not doing good enough job.
No.
Every day you're hustling.
No, but it's
You
crazy
guys are
because you
crushing
say
it.
it. It's like you ask us that question, did you make it? And we're both like, I don't think that we did.
Yeah, you're
so,
hard
like,
on yourself.
we're talking, you guys are, even us, like we don't think yet. I think that what we've done is incredible. And every day, like when I took 5 seconds at the holiday, because we literally don't have a second, I just like stood there and I looked around and I was like, damn. And the moment I realized how impressive the holiday market was when we got our video recap from our friend Patrick, who did a video of the event. And I was like, oh, damn, we did that. And it took me that to see it. But for the we made it part, it's still coming.
It's still coming.
You have, like you said, you had 4 full-time employees and 40 volunteers part-time. Like, in theory, you're feeding people. Like, you're giving people money to put food on the table. And like, I could only imagine hiring people to do it. And like, you have 8, 12, whatever the number of people is, which I think is really impressive. So for me, you've made it.
Exactly. And that, like, if you're able to sustain yourself and others, at that point, you're already at a point that
you have to give some respect for that.
100%. 100%. And we love that.
And we're so happy that you came.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you are on the 3rd episode of our season 2, finally interviewing people and bringing food on. I'm hoping this camera's still working. If it's not, I'm in trouble. But thank you everyone for following us. It's Doggos currently, Ontario Doggos on Instagram for them. And then we'll have their socials bubbled somewhere in there. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate it. And this is our 3rd episode. We have Doggos, soon to be called Puppysphere, going to be coming out. But check them out on Instagram at Ontario Doggos. Also, the Edible Talk on all platforms. all podcast platforms, YouTube, and then we'll be all anywhere. You guys know where we are. Thank you so much for watching. We love you, and you again.
Thanks for having us.
Guys.
We love you guys too. So.